In the last video, we learned about evidence that proves that consciousness is a separate substance from the physical body. We now have answers to 2 out of the 3 questions we raised in the very first video. 1. Where does stress originate? Stress is linked to emotions, and emotions originate in consciousness. Thus, stress arises within consciousness. 2. Who is accountable for stress? As we explained in videos 7 through 9, our consciousness is responsible for stress due to its capabilities of being able to regulate changes in its attributes of awareness, beliefs, emotions, and intentions due to its inherent free will. However, the question about the definition of stress is still unanswered. So let's first try to understand normal and abnormal behaviors. In psychology, abnormality is defined using criteria such as deviation from social and statistical norms, as well as deviation from ideal mental health and failure to function adequately. These criteria serve well in identifying serious psychological disorders. However, they are neither sufficient nor comprehensive enough to identify all of the transient, acute, and even chronic stressful emotions and behaviors. Because the primary focus has been on defining mental illness and abnormal behavior, the definition of ideal mental health and normal behavior has remained vague. Let's try to understand this point using the following examples. Someone might really enjoy the mental state caused by alcohol and drug use, even if it is at the expense of his physical, mental, and social health. So, does the pleasurable feeling make it normal behavior? Next, many regions have legalized marijuana consumption, making it socially acceptable. So, does this make consumption of all psychotropic addictive substances normal? Finally, compulsive lying is defined as a disorder in psychology, but can occasional lying be considered normal? Occasional lying is not called a disorder, but does it deserve to be labeled as abnormal behavior because it is a potential precursor to compulsive lying? Considering these examples, making an objective and consistent definition for normal behavior will enable us to define stress clearly. Let us delve into the definition of natural and unnatural states of a substance from a Jain philosophy point of view. The unnatural state, known as vibhav-padiyai, is a state expressed by a substance while interacting with external instrumental factors, known as nimit. The natural state, known as swabhav-padiyai, is an inherent state expressed by a substance that occurs without any interaction with external instrumental factors. For example, in the absence of oxygen and heat, to remain unignited and not burn is the intrinsic natural state of pure hydrogen. Now, in the presence of external instrumental factors such as oxygen and heat, the hydrogen is combustible. Therefore, burning is an unnatural state of hydrogen. In video 4, we discussed some of the attributes of consciousness. The ability to form emotions or stay neutral is referred to as the conduct or charitra attribute, according to Jain philosophy. All of these attributes, including the conduct attribute, can have natural and unnatural states. Now let's identify the unnatural states of the conduct attribute. When forming emotions, in addition to our own free will, there are many instrumental factors at play that are triggered by our past karmic bondage, such as current external situations, recalling of previous incidents, or thinking about possible future events. For example, you may perhaps feel frustrated with stock market volatility, an external instrumental factor, especially when your own investments are involved. In this case, the emotion of frustration is an unnatural state of conduct. Similarly, all emotions are unnatural states of conduct, including anger or krodh, ego or man, deceit or maya, greed or lobh, sorrow or shok, fear or bhai, affection or rati, disaffection or arati, laughter or hasya, disgust or jugupsa, and the sex passions, or Stree Purush Napunsak Ved. Most of these emotions are very much intertwined with our day-to-day life. So you may wonder, if all emotions are unnatural states, then how do we go about our day-to-day lives? That is indeed a valid question, and therefore, in future videos, we will learn to manage those emotions by classifying them further in categories of benevolent emotions, or Shubh Bhav, and non-benevolent emotions, or Ashubh Bhav. Everyone relates to the feeling of unpleasant emotions as stress. The idea behind considering even seemingly pleasant emotions, such as laughter and affection, as unnatural states, is to empower ourselves to identify the true nature of all transient emotions, and not to be misled by interpreting pleasant emotions as a stress-free state. Regarding our emotions, we should remain aware of the following facts. Even seemingly pleasant emotions carry a baggage of external dependencies such as good food, health, wealth, leisure, and entertainment, and we could end up feeling miserable the moment we lose them. Next, material pleasure or displeasure very much require the presence of material objects, and it cannot be sustained even if the objects remain present. For example, if you receive bad news while your favorite food is in your mouth, would it still bring the same joy to you? So our notion of normality and feeling stress-free based on our likings or fulfillment of material well-being needs a complete makeover. Now, the next question would be, what is our natural state then? The neutral state of consciousness, known as vitaragata, would be considered our natural state. Because this neutral state does not carry any external instrumental factors for us to feel peace and pleasure. According to Jain philosophy, every individual in this neutral state would experience tremendous non-material joy and inner peace proportional to the degree of purity of their neutral state. This is an objective, consistent, and universal phenomenon. Acharya Kunkun described the concept of natural and unnatural states in his treatise Panchastikai Sangra and Pravachansar during the 1st century CE, based on Tirthankar Mahavir's teachings. Our definition of stress shall refer to a mental state which includes positive and negative emotions, as well as the causes of those emotions. To understand this further, we ought to understand natural and unnatural states of our knowledge and beliefs in the next video. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.